back, Turtle Nation. I'm doing another cooking section once more, and I'm joined with Miss Anderson. Miss Anderson is a teacher here at Pike Central. She teaches biology and ICP. Today we are going to be making dirt pudding. She's never made it before, I guess. Never had it, which is kind of odd because usually in Pike County that's like the #1 thing. So, yeah. There's 2 steps to it, like 2 main steps to put it all together. I'm gonna have Miss Anderson doing one of them and using a mixer because I really don't trust myself with a mixer. And I'll use like the little hand spoon for mine. So I'm gonna bring her over here to the table right beside me. So she might be out of frame for a bit, but I'm gonna be over here mixing some stuff. So we're gonna get all that set. So we're gonna step over here for a second. So I'm gonna have you get all these together, and then you can start mixing them. While I get the milk. I got my hand scooped. I'm gonna borrow this real quick and use it for the milk.
That's what this is for.
Now I'm gonna use that. I kind of didn't even see it, if I'm being honest. Alright, so what I'm doing is I'm mixing some vanilla jello and some milk together. And she is mixing condensed sugar, or powdered sugar, some cream cheese, the whole thing, the whole 8 ounces, and then 1/4 of a cup of butter. So for the milk, you want to get about 3.5 cups of milk. So we're going to just sit here and measure this out. Measure, 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 measure. There we go. Now if you hear a lot of noise in the background, that's just her using the mixer. Hopefully she doesn't hurt herself. I have no insurance over her. Hopefully she has insurance.
I think I can handle a mixer.
You think you can?
Yeah.
I don't know, Miss Anderson. You're kind of clumsy.
I know. How much powdered sugar?
A cup.
That doesn't seem like enough.
Well, if you like to add more, you can add more.
If it's gonna be sugar and chocolate, we need a lot of sugar and chocolate.
Then you add a lot of sugar and chocolate. I mean, we do have a lot of Oreos, so. Got it all mixed together?
I got it.
Good job, Miss Anderson. Alright, we can bring it back in the frame here. We'll be mixing this up. But while I'm mixing this up, I'm gonna have a few questions for you, Miss Anderson.
Oh boy.
So, what is your favorite part about teaching?
My favorite part about teaching is Gabe.
Oh, you're so sweet.
My favorite part is that I don't have Gabe anymore.
Aw.
Gabe tends to talk a lot.
I do talk a lot.
My favorite part is doing all the labs that we do, I guess.
Oh, yeah? How long have you been a teacher, or been teaching?
This is my 20th year.
Wow. So have you been like always teaching like science classes, or were you into different things?
When I started here, I started with math and science in 7th grade.
Yeah.
And then I went to, I guess it was kind of like a careers class. But everybody had to take it.
Oh, yeah?
So I had to do stuff for 6th graders, stuff for 7th graders, and stuff for 8th graders.
Gotcha.
Then I had health. And then I moved to high school. Much better.
Much better than elementary or middle school?
Yes.
So with all these classes, what was your favorite project that you ever did?
I really like doing the egg racers.
I was about to say that. I was about to say the egg racers.
I like the egg racers. I like it when they bust at the end. So sometimes it's just a little bust. Sometimes it's been a big mess.
And I know me and Noah, which Noah's also on Chat with the Chargers, so you'll see him either before this or I don't know when they're going to place it. But me and him were in this class together and we had an egg racer, but we kept throwing it down the ramp, trying to get it to break. And yeah, we eventually broke it and then we were sad because we lost our egg. Alright, so we mixed the two things together and now I'm going to mix them. Actually, Miss Anderson, I'm going to have you mix that so you're more in the camera while I come over here and beat some Oreos. And then we're also going to throw some whipped cream. I forgot the whipped cream. And I hope you like whipped cream because we're throwing a lot in there.
On top of I have never made this, I have never ate it either.
You will get messy when cooking. I'm sure Miss Anderson knows that.
Oh yes.
So, have there been any accidents in the lavatory?
Not really. We've never had anything really exciting. The only thing that I guess is an accident is when they turn on the gas in Mr. Ziegler's room. Because our gas is hooked together. One time I had some young ladies running out of the room before school because there was all kinds of hissing and it smelled bad. So that would be probably the only accident we've had.
Yeah. Alright. Now we're gonna throw it together. I got the Oreos kind of crushed up for the most part. So throw some in there and then I will start. We're gonna get like a layer base first and then we'll throw some Oreos on it. And then once she gets like kind of filled in the bottom, and then I'm gonna throw some Oreos on it. I'm just gonna do this. Not sure what that was. Alright. Go ahead and throw some more.
How many more layers?
Probably a few. I'll probably do like, I dump this one more time and then do it and then I'll dump another one. So if you had the choice to actually do any job in the world, what would it be?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
So teaching was always like your dream job?
Well, not really. I started out to be a counselor,
Oh, really?
but I would have had to go to Terre Haute
Yeah.
to do my counseling classes. And that's a long drive to Terre Haute every day, so
Okay.
I did not do that. But I actually do have a associate's in psychology.
So you guys, this is why you always talk to your teachers, because you find out something new every day. Alright. Now, since that's done, you will put it in the fridge. You know, let it chill for an hour or so. But for now, we're going to try it real quick. Here you go, Miss Anderson.
Is that other than what's on my fingers?
Yeah.
Okay.
This will be like the whole thing with the Oreos, too.
Ah.
So you get to actually try it. Get a small portion so my mouth isn't full.
I like that.
See?
Not too bad.
Pretty good for dirt burning. And now you know how to make it. So, maybe you'll enjoy it. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you, Miss Anderson, for joining me. Also like to give a shout out to JC Store for sponsoring us again. Thank you guys so much.
Hello and welcome back to another segment with me, Noah Miller. And we're going to be talking about Pike Central history. Today I'm here with Mr. Gideon, and if you don't know who he is, he's going to be your high school history teacher. So, Mr. Gideon, you're going to help me talk about the history of Pike Central, and
Sure.
Before that, okay, starting off, how long have you been working here?
This is my 20th year at Pike Central.
Okay, that's a pretty long time if you ask me.
I'm getting old.
Okay, have you always been a world history teacher or history teacher?
Yeah, I've always taught U.S. history in some form or another. I've taught some middle school, but primarily been juniors and seniors in high school. Yeah, I've always been a history teacher.
That seems like a handful. So you've been here teaching for 20 years. Is there like anything other than Pike Central and around this area that has historical events or places that you know of?
Yeah, I mean, right here where we're at, you mean right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like right here, long before this was Pike Central, this was, where we're actually standing was the site of the Pike County Poor Farm, or also known as the Pike County Asylum. And basically it was a place for people in the community that were homeless or down and out, or out, down on their luck, to stay and live and kind of work the area and try to make a little money for themselves, and it gave them a place to stay. But it was here from the late 1800s up through the 1950s, and it was tore down in the 60s before they built Pike Central.
So you was just telling me a little bit about the poor farm. I've heard that the poor farm was actually burnt down.
It actually did. One time in the early 1900s, a guy that was staying here kind of went crazy, so they locked him up in an upstairs bedroom. If you Google it, you can find pictures of the house that was here. It was actually right where we're standing, and they locked him in an upstairs bedroom, and he poured kerosene all over himself from a kerosene lamp and lit himself on fire and burned the place, burned it almost to the ground. He died, obviously, and the place burned down, and they rebuilt it.
So it is told the very first person that bought the poor farm actually sold it for more than he bought.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of common now. It's just like today, you know, you purchased a chunk of land 20 years ago, chances are it's worth a lot more now than it was 20 years ago. I mean, the price of everything's going up. They just don't make land anymore, you know what I mean?
So is it true the people that stayed in the poor farm, whatever crops they picked and planted, they get a keep?
They got a share of the profit, basically. They would go into town, whether it be Petersburg or Winslow, and they could sell those crops, and those people could then make money, make a share of the crop, you know, 10% or whatever of the yield. They could keep some of that money and have their own money for spending and things like that.
So say that the poor farm was still here and Pike Central wouldn't be here. In this today age, would it still be a farm, or do you think they would have moved on and made it like a hospital? Or
it was kind of a hospital at the time. You know, if people had mental health issues or problems, it wasn't just a working farm. You know, it was also known as the asylum, so it was kind of a mental institution also. So people had mental issues. I mean, there were people that were born here and lived here their entire life, never left the poor farm.
Well, that's some interesting facts. Now, I got one more question, and this is not about the poor farm, about Pike Central. Do you know what Pike Central's mascot is?
The Charger.
Which is the what?
That's the horse.
Oh, you got it.
That's the horse. Everyone thinks it's the knight, but it's the horse. Yeah.
Well, that ends our segment of the video. Thank you for tuning in, and prepare for next week's video.